Right now, someone is using one of these 7 manipulation techniques on you, and you don't even realize it. Maybe your coworker always asks for favors right after complimenting you. Your boss creates artificial deadlines to pressure your decisions, or that friend who makes you feel guilty whenever you refuse their requests. These aren't coincidences. They're calculated psychological attacks designed to bypass your rational thinking and control your behavior. Here's the disturbing truth. The average person encounters over 47 manipulation attempts daily. From the moment you wake up and check your phone to the last conversation before bed, someone is trying to influence your thoughts, emotions, and actions for their benefit. And if you can't recognize these 7 fundamental techniques, you're not making free choices. You're being controlled. In the next 30 minutes, I will expose the 7 manipulation techniques that form the foundation of all psychological control. You'll learn precisely how each one works, why they're so effective, and most importantly, how to recognize and defend against them when used on you. Welcome back to Shadow Psyche, where we expose the daily dark psychology tactics used against you and teach you how to protect yourself. I'm Brian, and over the past 15 years, I've studied the manipulation techniques that predators, toxic people, and even corporations use to control your mind and behavior. Today, we're covering the 7 basic manipulation techniques everyone needs to understand. These aren't advanced psychological warfare tactics. They're the fundamental methods that form the building blocks of all manipulation. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how each technique works, recognize when they're being used against you, and have specific strategies for defending yourself in real time. Here's what makes this different from other manipulation content. I'm not just going to describe these techniques. I will show you the psychological mechanisms that make them work, give you real-world examples from every area of life, and provide you with word-for-word scripts for shutting them down when used against you. But first, let me be clear. This information is for protection and awareness only. We teach recognition and defense, never manipulation or exploitation of others. Technique 1. Reciprocity manipulation. The obligation trap. How reciprocity manipulation works. Reciprocity manipulation exploits your natural human tendency to feel obligated to return favors. When someone does something for you, your brain automatically creates a psychological debt that makes you feel compelled to reciprocate. Manipulators understand this and deliberately create artificial obligations to control their future behavior. The technique works because reciprocity is hardwired into human psychology. Throughout evolution, societies that practiced reciprocity survived better than those that didn't. Your brain is programmed to track social debts and feel uncomfortable when unbalanced. Manipulators exploit this discomfort to make you comply with requests you usually refuse. Warning signs and examples. In the workplace, a manipulative colleague might bring you coffee or help with a small task, then later ask you to cover for them or take on their responsibilities. The initial favor creates a sense of obligation, making it harder to say no to the larger request. In relationships, someone might give you an unexpected gift or do you an unsolicited favor, then use that as leverage when they want something from you. They'll say things like, "After everything I've done for you," or "I thought we had an understanding." Sales professionals use reciprocity by offering free samples, consultations, or small gifts before pitching. The free item creates a psychological obligation that makes you more likely to purchase something you don't need. Defense strategy. The key to defending against reciprocity manipulation is recognizing when favors are strategic rather than genuine. Ask yourself, did I ask for this favor? And what might this person want from me later? When someone offers unsolicited help, you can say, I appreciate the offer, but I prefer to handle this myself. Or, thank you, but I don't want to feel obligated. If someone uses past favors as leverage, respond with, I appreciated your help then, but that doesn't obligate me to do this now. Or, each situation should be evaluated on its own merits. Technique 2. Scarcity and urgency. The fear of missing out. The psychology of scarcity. Scarcity manipulation creates artificial time pressure or limited availability to force quick decisions without proper consideration. This technique works because your brain is wired to value things more highly when they seem rare or difficult to obtain. When faced with scarcity, your rational thinking shuts down and your emotional decision-making takes over. The urgency component triggers your fight or flight response, flooding your system with stress hormones that impair critical thinking. Under time pressure, you're more likely to make decisions based on emotion rather than logic, which manipulators want. Real-world applications. Retailers use limited-time offers and only X items left to pressure immediate purchases. Online platforms show other people viewing this item or countdown timers to create artificial urgency. These tactics work even when the scarcity is completely fabricated. In relationships, manipulators might threaten to end the relationship or withdraw their affection if you don't comply immediately. They'll say things like, "This is your last chance," or, "If you don't decide now, the opportunity is gone forever." Employers might create artificial deadlines or claim that positions must be filled immediately to pressure you into accepting unfavorable terms. They exploit your fear of losing the opportunity to bypass your negotiation instincts. Protection methods. When faced with scarcity pressure, always ask for time to consider the decision. Say, I need to think about this overnight, or I'll get back to you tomorrow with my decision. Legitimate offers can wait. Manipulative ones often can't. Question the scarcity itself. Ask, why is this only available now? Or, what happens if I wait until next week? Often, you'll discover that the urgency is artificial and the opportunity will still be available later. Technique 3. Authority manipulation. The power of position. How authority manipulation functions. Authority manipulation exploits your natural tendency to defer to people in positions of power or expertise. When someone presents themselves as an authority figure, your brain automatically reduces its critical thinking and becomes more compliant. This happens even when the person's authority is irrelevant to the situation. The technique works because authority recognition is a survival mechanism. Throughout history, following legitimate authority often meant the difference between life and death. Your brain still responds to authority signals even when that authority is artificial or inappropriate. Identifying authority manipulation. Manipulators often borrow authority from other sources, saying things like, "The boss wants this done," or "experts recommend this approach," without verifying. They use titles, credentials, or associations to create an impression of expertise they may not possess. In medical settings, someone might use their professional status to pressure you into treatments or decisions without proper explanation. In financial contexts, advisors might use their credentials to push products that benefit them more than you. People create fake expertise online through professional-looking websites, purchased credentials, or associations with legitimate institutions. They use this manufactured authority to sell products or influence opinions. Resistance strategies. Always verify authority claims independently. Ask, "Can you provide documentation of this requirement?" Or, "I'd like to speak with your supervisor about this." Verification requests won't threaten legitimate authority figures. Question whether the authority is relevant to the specific situation. A doctor's medical expertise doesn't make them an authority on financial planning. A manager's position doesn't give them the right to make unreasonable personal demands. Remember to seek second opinions and ask questions, regardless of someone's authority. Say, "I'd like to research this myself before deciding," or "I need to consult with someone else about this." Technique 4. Social proof. The herd mentality trap. The mechanism of social proof. Social proof manipulation convinces you to do something by claiming that everyone else is doing it. This technique exploits your brain's tendency to use other people's behavior as a shortcut for determining the correct action. When uncertain about what to do, you naturally look to others for guidance. The manipulation works because social conformity is deeply ingrained in human psychology. Throughout evolution, going against the group often meant death or exile. Your brain is programmed to feel anxiety when your behavior differs significantly from those around you. Common social proof tactics. Marketers use testimonials, reviews, and bestseller claims to suggest that their products are widely accepted and therefore good choices. They create fake social proof through purchased reviews, manufactured testimonials, and inflated popularity metrics. In social situations, manipulators might claim that everyone thinks you should do this, or all your friends agree with me. They use peer pressure to make you feel isolated if you don't comply with their requests. Political manipulators use polling data, crowd sizes, and endorsements to suggest their position is popular. They create bandwagon effects that make people want to join the winning side. Defense mechanisms. Always ask for specific evidence of the claimed social proof. Say, "Can you show me these reviews?" Or, "Which specific people said this?" Often you'll discover that the social proof is exaggerated or fabricated. Remember that popularity doesn't equal correctness. Many popular ideas throughout history have been wrong, and many correct ideas were initially unpopular. Make decisions based on evidence and your values, not on what others are supposedly doing. The question is whether the social proof is relevant to your situation. What works for others might not work for you, and what others choose might not align with your values or goals. Technique 5. Commitment and consistency. The self-trap. How consistency manipulation works. This technique exploits your psychological need to appear consistent with your previous statements and actions. Once you've committed to something publicly or in writing, your brain feels compelled to act in ways that support that commitment, even when circumstances change or you realize the commitment was unwise. The manipulation works because consistency is valued in most cultures, and inconsistency creates cognitive dissonance, an uncomfortable mental state that your brain tries to resolve by maintaining consistent behavior rather than admitting error. Manipulation applications. Sales professionals get you to make small commitments that lead to larger ones. They might ask you to agree that quality is essential and then use that agreement to justify higher prices. They get you to state your problems publicly and then position their product as the obvious solution. In relationships, manipulators get you to commit to principles or behaviors that they can later use against you. They might get you to agree that relationships require sacrifice and then use that commitment to justify unreasonable demands. Employers might get you to commit to company values or goals publicly, then use those commitments to pressure you into working extra hours or accepting poor treatment for the good of the team. Breaking free from consistency traps. Recognize that changing your mind when you get new information is a sign of intelligence, not weakness. Say, "I've learned new information that changes my perspective," or "My previous commitment was based on incomplete understanding." Be careful about making public commitments without complete information. When pressured to commit quickly, say, "I need all the details before I can commit to anything," or "I prefer to underpromise and overdeliver." Remember that you're not obligated to maintain commitments obtained through manipulation or deception. If someone tricked you into agreeing, you can withdraw that agreement. Technique 6. Emotional manipulation. Hijacking your feelings. The power of emotional manipulation. Emotional manipulation involves deliberately triggering specific emotions to bypass your rational thinking and control your behavior. When you're in a heightened emotional state, your prefrontal cortex, responsible for critical thinking, becomes less active, making you more susceptible to influence. Common emotions used for manipulation include guilt, fear, anger, excitement, and sympathy. Manipulators become skilled at reading and using your emotional triggers to get what they want. They understand that emotions often override logic in decision-making. Emotional manipulation techniques. Guilt manipulation involves making you feel responsible for the manipulator's emotions or problems. They'll say things like, "You're hurting me by not doing this," or "I'll be devastated if you don't help me." They position your reasonable boundaries as cruel or selfish. Fear manipulation creates anxiety about potential negative consequences if you don't comply. This might involve threats to your security, relationships, or reputation. The manipulator positions themselves as the solution to the fear they've created. Sympathy manipulation involves the manipulator positioning themselves as victims needing your help. They exaggerate their problems or create false crises to trigger your compassion and desire to help. Emotional defense strategies. When someone triggers strong emotions, pause before responding. Say, "I need some time to process this before I can give you an answer." This gives your rational mind time to engage and evaluate the situation objectively. Learn to recognize your emotional triggers and how they affect your decision-making. When you notice these emotions arising in response to someone's request, ask yourself, "Am I being emotionally manipulated right now?" Set boundaries around emotional responsibility. You are not responsible for managing other people's emotions, and they are not responsible for managing yours. Say, "I understand you're upset, but that doesn't change my decision." Or, "Your emotions are valid, but they don't obligate me to do what you want." Technique 7. Information control. Manipulating your reality. How information control works. Information control involves filtering, distorting, or withholding information to shape your perception of reality and influence your decisions. You can't make truly informed choices when you don't have complete information. Manipulators understand this and carefully control what information you receive. This technique is hazardous because it operates below conscious awareness. You don't know what information you're missing, so you can't compensate for the manipulation. You make decisions based on incomplete or distorted data while believing you have the whole picture. Information control methods. Selective disclosure involves only sharing information supporting the manipulator's agenda while suppressing contradictory evidence. They might tell you about the benefits of a decision while hiding the risks, or share positive testimonials while concealing negative reviews. Source credibility manipulation involves discrediting information sources that contradict the manipulator's narrative. They'll attack the messenger rather than address the message, making you doubt reliable sources of information. Complexity manipulation involves oversimplifying complex issues to hide important details or making simple issues seem complex to discourage you from investigating further. They control your understanding by controlling the level of detail you receive. Information defense protocols. Always seek multiple sources of information before making important decisions. Ask, where else can I learn about this? And who might disagree with this perspective? Actively look for contradictory information and alternative viewpoints. Be suspicious when someone discourages you from seeking outside information or consulting with others. Legitimate advisors welcome second opinions and additional research. Manipulators fear outside perspectives that might expose their deception. Learn to ask specific questions that reveal hidden information. Ask, what are the potential downsides? Who would disagree with this recommendation? And what information might change your mind about this? These questions often reveal information that was being withheld. Now that you understand these 7 fundamental manipulation techniques, here's your immediate protection protocol. Action Step 1. The Daily Manipulation Log. Keep a simple log of manipulation attempts you encounter for the next week. Each time someone uses one of these 7 techniques, write down which technique was used, who used it, what they were trying to get you to do, and how you responded. This builds your pattern recognition skills and helps you see how often these techniques are used against you. Action Step 2. The Pause and Analyze Protocol. Whenever someone requests or tries to influence your decision, use this 3-step process. First, pause and ask yourself, is this person using any of the 7 techniques? Second, identify which specific technique they're using. Third, respond with the appropriate defense strategy rather than reacting emotionally. Action Step 3. The Information Verification Challenge. This week, choose 3 critical decisions you need to make. For each one, deliberately seek out information from sources not provided by the person trying to influence you. Notice how additional information changes your perspective and decision-making process. Practice saying, I need to think about that, whenever someone uses urgency or pressure tactics to force an immediate decision. Use this phrase at least 5 times this week in different situations. Notice how people respond. Legitimate requests will be okay with waiting, while manipulative ones will increase the pressure. I want to hear from you about your experiences with these manipulation techniques, but please be careful about what you share publicly. In the comments below, tell me which of these 7 techniques you found most surprising, or which you recognize from your experience. Don't share specific details about people in your life, but let us know which concepts helped you understand confusing situations you've encountered. If this video helped you recognize manipulation techniques you hadn't noticed before, consider sharing them with someone you trust. Understanding these fundamental techniques is the first step in building psychological immunity against manipulation. Next week, we're diving deeper into social proof manipulation and how it's used in mass media and social movements. You'll learn to recognize when entire groups of people are being manipulated simultaneously and how to maintain independent thinking in group situations. If you found this breakdown of the 7 basic manipulation techniques valuable, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We post new protection strategies every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and each video builds on the previous ones to create a complete psychological defense system. Give this video a thumbs up if it helped you recognize manipulation techniques that have been used against you. Your engagement helps us reach more people who need this critical information about psychological protection. Check out our complete dark psychology defense playlist for those ready to go deeper into manipulation, recognition, and defense. We cover everything from advanced manipulation tactics to building unshakable boundaries. Each video provides specific, actionable strategies for protecting yourself in different environments. Understanding these 7 techniques isn't about becoming paranoid or suspicious of everyone. It's about developing the awareness to recognize when your decision-making is artificially influenced. The goal is to make free choices based on your values and interests, not someone else's manipulation. Stay protected, stay aware, and remember, knowledge is your best defense against those who would exploit your trust and kindness. I'll see you in the following video, where we'll explore how social proof manipulation operates on a massive scale.